Good morning and welcome to the new episode of Better Thyself. Is there any human being who has not at one time or the other had a bout of anger when you want to smash things around you, when you want to ride roughshod over everything, every obstacle? When your brain practically stops working with the overheated emotion of anger. It's normal. Anger is in fact healthy at times because it's a normal, natural emotion. But excess of everything is bad. And as an emotional response to a real or imagined wrong and justice, anger is fully justified. But is it justified that you carry your anger wherever you go like an overstuffed baggage? Because this baggage is going to weigh you down and demand considerable amount of attention and energy. Anger can be based on the present, the current situation. But there is a worse form of anger when the anger transmutes itself into resentment. Resentment is anger suppressed. While anger is a positive feeling and lets you go full blast at imagined, perceived, or real damage to you, resentment is a negative feeling, basically ill will towards someone or something that has no relevance to the present. It's a carryover on the past. It's a re-experience of the emotions that generated anger, some past injustice, again real or perceived. And the old feeling of anger directed at those injustices turn into resentment. And as I said earlier, while anger is at times, again I'm repeating at times, not always, a positive emotion, an outlet for release of your pent-up feelings, a safety valve in the pressure cooker of your mind, resentment is a slow poison which harms nobody but yourself. As a matter of fact, most of the people are not able to differentiate between resentment and anger. You remember Mark Twain, the famous writer, he once said, anger harms no one except the person who is angry. He was basically talking about resentment, because that becomes an acid which eats through you. Anger takes place when life isn't going the way you think it should be going. But resentment has a corrosive effect. It's a fight against present moment reality, a reality to accept what has been. So, anger, when it becomes a secondary emotion, is resentment, and that primary emotion, which can be perceived to be human, becomes something which is human, all right, but not something which is appreciated. You know, anger has certain defensive purposes. It's not something useless, it defends you, defends your psyche. It works as a shield that reflects uncomfortable primary emotions so that they can be avoided or kept at a distance. It also provides a sense of power and control. When you are angry, you think you are in control, while you are not really. You think you are in a state of power because others are quiet, but not really. They might be feeling pity for you or sympathy for you or fear of you. If they are afraid of you, then yes, you are in control. But if they are apathetic and pitying you for your uncalled for response, then you are a subject of pity rather than they being under your control. And thirdly, anger focuses outward to identifiable external scapegoats. These scapegoats can be individuals, these can be institutions, these can be groups. And it's always easier to focus on the action of others than to focus on yourself. Now, resentment is held for years together, and slowly, it's like, fire which has burned. The fire is burnt out, but the embers remain, the smoldering embers. And these smoldering embers slowly scorch your life and then burn it out. The fire no longer rages, but the embers remain hot and risk of fire to reignite until it's fully extinguished. So you have got to extinguish it. If you allow yourself to become angry and resentful, whenever the situations don't go the way you want, you prefer, then basically you are making yourself subservient to the will of the others. They know that X thing is going to make you angry, so they'll do that. So that once you are angry, you will not be able to have a balanced judgment. It's similar to using a remote control to change channels on the TV. You use a remote to change the channels. Other people whose certain actions or certain words make you angry are using that feeling to make you angry and resentful and poison yourself. So they are not in your control, you are under control. Something is amazing, that we don't think that what we are doing is going to harm ourselves. Holding a resentment is like drinking poison. While you are drinking poison yourself, you hope and you wait for the other person to die. That doesn't happen. It's you who are going to die. So what you've got to do is to control your emotions. And as I said earlier, the best thing is to combat these emotions. When you combat these emotions, you defeat them. And when you defeat them, you come out as a better person. Now, what are the specific actions you can take to control the feelings of anger and resentment in a more healthy and more helpful manner? There are ways and ways. So the strategy which I'm going to recommend today is something which will enable you to take definitive steps to control yourself, to tide over the anger, and also to stand against the towering inferno of resentment. First is practice identifying and allowing yourself to feel underlying emotions that anger may be superimposed upon. Anger can result only from two emotions. Either is the result of hurt or is a result of fear. If you are hurt, anger would be very temporary because hurt will cure itself. If it's a fear, then it's something and you have got to face the fear. So the effective thing to do is to present with those, strive to seek those things which hurt you and remove the cause of those, or try to come to terms with that and accept the feeling of the vulnerability they experience. Everything which hurts you or makes you afraid, makes you feel less vulnerable. Identify the cause of fear, analyze it, and you will find that the fear is mostly the fear of the children who are afraid of going in the dark. So, practice this consciously. When with your anger and resentment, observe it, observe the cause, Allow to simply hold it. Visualize the space around you, whether the hurt is justified, and is it in your control to control the hurt? And if not, then why get angry? Resentment? Well, if there is no reason to be angry, why be resentment? So try to make yourself less vulnerable. Then identify how you may have contributed to the situation that has made you angry and resentful about. 9 times out of 10, you would find that primarily it's your fault. Rarely it can be that's not your fault, but primarily it's your fault. And you played a part in that activity that resulted in your being hurt or being resentful. Because resentfulness, as I said earlier, is a consequence of your anger. When you identify your contribution, then the reason for anger would be over, because anger is always to find a scapegoat. And here the scapegoat is yourself. So, by finding the scapegoat that is yourself, in many cases you will find the cause to be over. If you are not yourself, then find out the real cause. And then, you have got to learn to differentiate between expression of anger and expression of resentment. Share your feeling of anger and resentment with supportive individuals whom you trust. Better still, write them out. When you write out the whole thing, you would find that your resentment is drained away and your anger has subsided substantially. Discharge your anger through physical activity by working out, taking a walk, running out, going for a hike. Do anything to get away from the situation. When the fire is on, you don't go inside the fire. You go away from the fire. Do the same thing about the situation that has caused you hurt. And as I said, mindful activities like going for a walk, watching a movie, will automatically take your mind away. And initially you will feel you don't want to do it. Why should I do it? Why should I run away? But do it, and you will be better. Physical activity always is a catalyst for your mind to come to a rest. And when your mind comes to a rest, you are a better person. Adopt the techniques of mindfulness. I told you, writing a journal, going for a walk, take a run, listen to music, soft, soothing music. And you would find progressive relaxation, not immediately, but quite unplugged time. That would be the result. Then, another thing, which is very difficult, endeavor to practice people and treat them with compassion. Suppose somebody has hurt you. Do not think him to be active. Think, well, he is a mental case. It's not in his control. Let's pity him for his ignorance. When Jesus said, when he was being crucified, Lord, forgive them, for they know not what they do, is an ideal case of compassion for the people who are hurting you. You may not want to be compassionate, but still try to be. And even false compassion, fake compassion, will somehow or the other soothe you. It will make you feel better, a better human being than the other person is. When you're feeling compassion towards somebody, you always think that you are on a higher platform. And that real or imagined situation will make you feel a better person. And when you feel you are a better person, you are bettering thyself. Then resist one urge, which is very common. When you are angry or when you are resentful, you want to manage. The best thing is manage yourself. And another thing which is very important is we are sometimes angry not for ourselves, but for others, for the third party. Somebody criticizes our religion, we get angry. Somebody criticizes our sibling, we get angry. Somebody criticizes our children, we get angry. If somebody criticizes our friend, abuses them, we get angry. No. Do not buy into it. Resist to join in the negativity and don't participate in the gossip. You see, once you participate in the gossip, somebody will hurt you by hurting your friend, by hurting your near one, whom your near and dear one. And you will automatically become a channel for anger, which you ought not to be. So avoid yourself becoming a channel, an intermediary. And the feeling of anger and resentment would be much less. And then, most important, apply the understanding you are a logical, rational human being. Remind yourself, it is difficult, I don't deny it, that you don't like to be in that situation where you happen to be, which made you angry. Again, coming back to your self-awareness and self-righteousness and understanding how much fault is yours. Accept your attention and energy will break the shackles of anger and resentment. And it will enable you to be more skillful today and tomorrow. And when you are able to give expression to your anger once and then forget it. And resentment, the slithering snake in your emotions, just pull it out and cast it in the fire of your anger. What is over is over. Be angry for the moment, get over that in a positive way by applying mindfulness techniques. And you will be a better person. Believe me. Thank you.